Hi, this is Unruly Anime. In today's video, we will be telling you the story of a heartbreaking romance called 5 centimeters per second. In the midst of Tokyo, two childhood friends walk to school together. They are Takaki and Akari. Akari promises Takaki that they will watch the cherry blossoms bloom together next year. But eventually Akari has to move away. She still keeps in contact with Takaki by writing letters to him, and he writes her back. A year passes and Takaki transfers out of Tokyo. Now the two are so far away that it is difficult for them to reach each other. They feel further apart than ever. However, they make a plan to meet before school starts again. Akari lives near a cherry tree and she hopes that when Takaki comes to visit her, spring will come so that they can watch it bloom together. Takaki then begins to plan his trip. It is long and complicated, but he is excited. After boarding the train, Takaki thinks back to the time Akari and he spent together when they were younger. They transferred to Tokyo around the same time and were alike in many ways. They were in the same class, both small for their age and had bad allergies, both preferred the library over the playground. The two naturally became close. People would make fun of them for their closeness, but it never bothered them. Given the amount of time they spent together, Takaki believed that they would always remain together. He then remembers Akari telling him that she will be transferring away. She apologizes, but he understands. She says she begged her parents to stay, but they declined and she apologizes again. Takaki remembers how he held the receiver so tightly to his face that it was as if he could feel Akari's pain directly through the phone. They are unable to take any action, and Akari offers her final apology. Due to the heavy snow, his train gets delayed. First the delay is 8 minutes, and then another 10 minutes as he gets further and further from the city. The train would then have a 10-minute delay at every stop after that, leading Takaki to become uneasy. He then has a flashback to a half year after they said their goodbyes. That is when he would receive his first letter from Akari, a letter that he would memorize from beginning to end. He reveals that he spent the weeks leading up to their current meeting writing a letter that he intended to give to Akari. He then checks his watch to see that he is over 40 minutes late for his meeting with her. Again, he is powerless and all he can do is move forward toward the station where Akari was waiting for him. At the next station, Takaki stops at a vending machine where he accidentally drops the letter he had written and can only watch as it is carried away by the turbulent winds. Later, the train he is riding on comes to a complete stop, and the loudspeaker announces that there will be another delay, but this time it is indefinite. Takaki checks his watch again to see that he is almost 2 hours late for his meeting with Akari. 2 more hours pass by. Takaki is now more powerless than ever and he can only sit in frustration. In what seemed like an eternity, he hopes that Akari is not waiting for him anymore and wishes that she just went back home. He arrives at the station over 4 hours late, completely dejected, but as he enters the waiting area, he is shocked to see that Akari had been waiting there all along. After being apart for so long, the two cannot hold back their tears when they finally see each other. They share a tender moment in the waiting area where Akari had prepared a meal for them. He compliments her cooking and they discuss how Takaki will be moving further away. Later that night, the pair arrive at the cherry tree they planned to see, only to find that all the leaves had fallen off. That is not relevant, as they are just glad to be together. The two then share a kiss. Takaki shares with us his differing emotions during this kiss, the happiness he feels in the moment, but also the sadness due to the uncertainty of their parting futures. He is unable to pull himself out of these thoughts and cannot focus on appreciating his moment with Akari. The two would spend the night in a nearby shed, talking until they fell asleep. The next morning, Takaki must go back home and the two say their goodbyes. As the train leaves, Takaki thinks about how he had completely forgotten to tell her about his letter, and at the same time, we see that Akari had forgotten to give Takaki a letter of her own. 5 years later, Takaki is a senior in high school who regularly has visions of living on a distant planet with Akari. He practices archery alone in the early mornings at his school. Meanwhile, a girl named Kanai admires Takaki from afar. She's working up the courage to approach Takaki. They have a casual conversation and Kanai leaves to go to class. Her friends tease her in class about her obvious crush on Takaki. Later, we see Kanai waiting in the parking lot in the hopes of running into Takaki. Her plan works and he says that they should head back home together, to which she agrees. Kanai thinks back to the day Takaki transfers to her school. She reveals that she instantly fell in love with him and how overjoyed she is every time she sees him. Kanai explains to us how she notices that he often writes messages to someone and how she wishes it was her he was writing to. On another day when she is going home alone, she sees Takaki's scooter on the side of the road. She finds Takaki sending messages on his phone. On top of a hill, they discuss their plans for the future. Takaki wants to go to school in Tokyo, but Kanai has yet to decide what she wants. Takaki admits that he is just as lost as she is, and she finds comfort in knowing that she is not alone. Later, we briefly see that Takaki is at home and about to send another message, but he ultimately decides not to. It turns out he's been deleting all the messages that he writes. A few days later, Kanai is waiting for Takaki by the parking area again, but this time she's planning to tell him how she feels about him. As the two drive home together, Kanai's scooter dies and they decide to walk the rest of the way. As they walk, Kanai cannot hold back her emotions and begins to cry. The long-planned rocket launch suddenly takes off into space. Later, Kanai reveals to us why she didn't profess her love to Takaki that night. She realized that he was looking past her at something much further away. As she falls asleep crying, she acknowledges that even though her wish will never come true, she will never stop loving him. 9 years later, Takaki is working as a programmer in Tokyo. He goes for a walk when the cherry blossoms begin to fall. While leaving for work one day, Takaki gets a call from his girlfriend, Mizuno, but he does not answer. Akari has recently moved to Tokyo to live with her fans, whom she is soon to marry, but she knows deep down that she does not love him at all. She found the love letter she meant to give to Takaki years ago, and she hasn't been able to stop thinking about it since. Elsewhere, Takaki gets a text message. It's from his girlfriend. She needs to tell him something, but he does not text back. All Takaki sees is his sadness piling up around him and missed opportunities. He is certain that Mizuno would tell him she loved him, but he does not care. The relationship is over. Takaki spends most of his time in pain, and he focuses on work to try to ignore it. It eventually becomes too much and he quits his job. Later, Takaki finds himself in a convenience store reading a magazine. Takaki and Akari begin a dual narration where they both recall a recent dream. In the dream, they relived their last meeting and remembered the wish to someday watch the cherry blossoms together again. In the final scene, Takaki goes for a walk in his old neighborhood. When the cherry blossoms fall, he passes by a girl who looks familiar, and two paws are seen on opposite sides of the train tracks. He turns and waits to see if she would still be there after the train had passed. However, when the train passes, he realizes she has already left. I appreciate you viewing my anime recap on Unruly Family. Please let me know what you think about this anime recap by liking, sharing, and commenting, and please subscribe to the channel to help us reach 5,000 subscribers.
Take you